Okay, guys, you see it, 748, 748, 748, 748. Find it, get there. You can pause it if you aren't there, and then we can do it together. Okay, y'all there? Okay, this is something new, so pay close attention. The green rectangle is the whole. This is the whole rectangle. It can be divided into equal parts. Se puede dividirlo en partes iguales. Supposing this was a big, in high school we used to share ice cream sandwiches. And we would get an ice cream sandwich. You know, in an ice cream sandwich, it has ice cream in the middle. We would get an ice cream sandwich like this. And if there were two of us sharing it, we would cut it into two equal parts. There are two halves. Each part is a half. This is a half, and this is a half. Two people sharing, we'd cut it into two parts. If there were three of us sharing, we'd have to cut it into three parts. Four of us sharing, we'd have to cut it into four parts. Notice, if there are four of us sharing, we get a little tiny part. The more people sharing, the smaller the part. The fewer people sharing, the bigger the part. Now, we have a way of writing this, of representing this part. We call it 1/2. One, because this is one piece, and the rectangle is to cut into two parts. The whole is divided into two parts. That's 1/2, and this on the bottom is 1/2. We say halves in English. In Spanish, una mitad o un medio. Hay dos maneras, un medio o una mitad. 1/2. Now these are three parts, so one of them would be 1/3. 1/3. 1/3. They're each 1/3. En español dice un tercio. Un tercio. There are 3/3. Each part is a third. That's a third, that's a third, that's a third. Altogether, there are 3/3. Altogether, there are 2/2. 2/2 is the same as the whole. 3/3 is the same as the whole. It's three of them, it makes a whole. These are 1/4. Now, there are two ways to say this. In Espanol, they say un cuarto. In English, we can say 1/4, or we could say 1/4. Just like the money, 1/4 is what? It's a fourth of a dollar. If you take a dollar and you split it four ways, well, you really would want to do that with a dollar bill. But remember how 4/4 makes a dollar? 1/4 is 1/4 of a dollar. That's why it's called 1/4. All of them together would be 4/4. 4/4 is the whole thing. 4/4 is like the whole. Okay, write how many equal parts there are in the whole. Write halves, thirds, or fourths to name the equal parts. How many equal parts did they cut that? Oop, you're not even looking. Again, write how many equal parts there are in the whole. Write halves, thirds, or fourths to name the equal parts. Okay, this is a trapezoid. They cut it into how many equal parts? Two. That means each part is a half. We're going to write halves. Halves, both of them are halves. They cut it into halves. One part is called 1/2. This is 1/2 here. Write that. 1/2, 1/2. Get used to writing the fractions. These are all called fractions. Where's the word fractions? Couldn't you have put the word fractions so they know what we're dealing with? We're talking about fractions. How about this one? What do you think? Well, how many equal parts are there? There are three equal parts. Tres partes iguales. 1/3 here, 1/3 in the middle, and 1/3 on the right. And we call these thirds. Try to stay with me. These are thirds. Okay? Now, number 3. How many equal parts? They cut it into 4 equal parts. 1/4. 1/4. 1/4. 1/4. Remember, there's two names, 1/4 or 1/4. They're using the term fourths. We'll write fourths instead of quarters. Fourths. These are fourths. Write the word fourths. You think you could try this just like these? The answers are right here. See if you can get them right. Take these and put them down here. Go ahead, pause your video and do it. See if you can do this just like mine. Again, you should be using the pause to do it yourself. If you're just copying mine all the time, then you're not learning it as well. The object is not to get it done. The object is to learn. So when you do fractions in third grade, you'll remember. Some of you think the idea is just to turn it in. Okay, I copied the teacher. No, you didn't learn it. A lot of people don't understand that. We're here to learn, not to just get the work done and say we did it. We got the answer. We copied it. No, that's not right. Okay, how many equal parts? That's easy. 3. If there's 3 equal parts, what is it? Thirds. Tercios. And how do we write it? 1/3. 1/3. 1/3. Now, sometimes when they write a fraction, they write a 1, and they write a line, they write the 3 underneath. I've seen it written like this with a 1 and the line slanted and a 3 underneath. Sometimes people write it like that. 1/3. Same thing. 1/3. What this means is you take one whole and you divide it into 3 parts. That's 1/3. How many equal parts? 2. So they must be halves, mitades, or medios, halves. Now, when there's 2, we say halves, but 1, we would use the word half. 1/2 with an F. 1/2. But these are 2 halves. 1/2. And how do we write it? 1/2. 1/2. Here, what do we got? 4 equal parts, and we call these fourths. Now, you could do fourths like this. They could have done fourths like this, with all straight lines going across. They could have done fourths, all lines going down like that. Fourths. You could have even done fourths. Can you do it like this? No. You can do a square like that. You can't do a rectangle like that. They don't come out the same. And I'll show you. Here's a square over here on the other page. See how they did it with an X? But you can't do a rectangle like that. If you do a rectangle like that, this triangle will not be the same as that triangle. So don't be tricked into doing a rectangle with an X. Okay, again, 1/4. 1/4. I want you to write these. It's good practice for you. 1/4, 1/4. Write them. When I look at your paper, I want to see all this written in. Okay? This is all pretty easy stuff. You might have to write a lot, but it's pretty easy thinking. Fractions. Okay. I'll tell you what. We're going to do these and then skip those. Yeah, you know why, right? Okay, we're on page 749. Here we go. Again, we're going to do the same thing. How many equal parts? 2. So they're what? Halves. Right? Halves. And I want you to write them. 1/2, 1/2. How many equal parts? 4. Now let me show you. I just want to show you why you can't do an X with a rectangle. Suppose you had a rectangle. You don't have to draw this. I'm just showing you this. And if you did the X, watch what happens. These are not equal. This is not the same as that. You see how this is short and this is long? These are not the same, so you can't do it. You can do it with a square, yes. In a square, they come out the same, but not in a rectangle, so don't do an X on a rectangle. Anyway, these are fourths. By the way, we could also call them quarters. You might want to put this word, quarters. These are also called quarters. It's got 2 names, fourths or quarters. These, oh, let's write the 1/4 in each one. 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. How many equal parts? 3. So they're thirds. Right? And we write 1/3, 1/3. It's hard to write this because they're skinny pieces. 1/3. Okay? Jump down to number 13. Draw to show halves. Explain how you know the parts are halves. Well, this is interesting. You could go like this. And those are halves, right? Let me get my eraser, because I'm going to do something interesting here. That's, if I did my line there, they would be halves. Top half, bottom half. Or if you went this way, right in the middle, you could have halves this way, right? Or you could even, I could even go from one corner to the other corner. With halves, it's different from quarters. Quarters, you can't do this. Halves, we could do this. This, you could flip it around, would be the same as this. These would be halves. That's another way to do it. In fact, boys and girls, if you know exactly where the center point is, if you know where that center point is exactly, you can go any line through that center point. Any line, so long as it goes, doesn't matter. You can go all the way around. So long as it goes through that center point, it's going to make halves. Watch. I'll show you. Now you say, but this is little and this is big. No, this is the same as this, and this is the same as this. If you flip this part around, it would match. That's halves. You see how I did halves? That's kind of tricky. If you have the center point, any line through the center point can make halves, because this side looks exactly like this side. I'm going to call this 1/2, 1/2. Go ahead, try that. Put a center point and then draw any line. It doesn't have to be like mine. And now the last thing I want you to do is you're going to go back and do numbers 10, 11, and 12. Just like you did 7, 8, 9. And then you're going to take a picture of both pages, of course, and send it to me. I want to see if you got this right. Pretty easy day again today, boys and girls. What were we working with? What's it called? Fractions. Fractions. And we did simple fractions. 1/2, 1/3, 1/4. Later we'll do really small fractions, like maybe 1/12. I think we did do that on a little page. Remember we did little fractions? We did that on one of our little pages like a couple weeks ago or a week ago. Okay, guys, we'll continue this tomorrow. I'm sure they're going to give us more fractions. We'll see you then. Bye.